Man, y'all know what it is. Chizzy Boy TV checking in with the one and only No Limit Larry.
You already know, man. Real Charlotte, big foe, not the little one.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. Larry Mims, man. How did this thing get started, man? Everybody in the city know that you're from North Charlotte. Some people know you from what, Meadow Oaks?
Yes, sir.
You know, the projects, man. You know, how was it growing up back then?
Hey, man, I'm like I said, we real Charlotte. So, growing up back then, we grew up. It was a lot of community, man. Like we all grew up being with each other, hanging with each other. We used to go like hang out like neighborhood, bro. We'd be 20, 30 deep going places. And like being from North Charlotte, we used to go like the Herb Village, Piedmont Courts. We used to hang out. Big shout out to all them boys from North Charlotte and Piedmont Courts and Herb Village. But we was like one big family, man. We traveled together, we hung together, and we, if you got into a fight with somebody, that next day you was either gonna fight again or you was gonna be friends again. Wasn't nobody killing, wasn't nobody shooting. Right. We were just all trying to get it, man, trying to get it out the mud, trying to make it happen and just trying to be successful. But we was like one big family, really.
That's what's up, man. I know when you was younger, you ran with Nate Quick.
Yep.
What sparked your interest into doing radio?
Oh, actually, it was my mom who sparked my interest into doing radio. She actually got me started in film and plays way back when I was like 13 years old. She introduced me to a guy by the name of Vincent Paul, and he was doing plays. It was at the same time Tyler Perry was out there doing his plays, and I started out in a play called Fat Justice. And then from that, I went on to do a play called My Grandmother Prayed for Me. Good Man Is Hard to Find. And that's when plays was really getting money. And I started when I was 13, and I started going on tour when I was 14. So I kind of like wanted to be in the entertainment. And when I went to college, I went to John C. Smith. That's when I met Nate. I met Nate while I was at John C. Smith. And he kind of took me under his wing and showed me the ropes. And they took forever to give me a job, but when they gave me a job, I ain't never looked back.
That's what's up, man. To you, how important was Nate Quick to the community in the city of Charlotte?
Hey, man, Nate Quick was real important to the community. He did a whole lot. He really showed me how to be, not only to be a radio personality, but to be about the community. Nate Quick, he was on the roof twice. He was on the roof for the Carolina Panthers because they sucked back then.
I remember that, my brother's.
Hey man, they were 1 of 15, man. Two times.
Yeah.
So the first time Nick was like, man, I want to do something for the community. I want to raise awareness. So I'm gonna go on the roof to the Panthers win, and he actually turned that into raising money for homeless children. Mm-hmm. So while he was up there, he was collecting donations for homeless children, and the first time it went by pretty quick, and that's when we really got to know each other because Nate was a busy person. Nate was a music director, so he was handling music. He was going on trips. He was working for Coca-Cola, and he was handling his own business. So like when I was interning for him, like all I could do is like catch him in the office. But during that time he was on the roof, he couldn't go nowhere. So I went up there on the roof with him every day and just kind of politic with him and find out about the ins and outs of radio. And the one thing he told me, man, you be about the community, like the community will never let you down. He was like, one day you gonna come to work, or you might come to work one day and you might not work for the radio no more. But what you gonna leave behind is, the things you do for people and the things you do in the community. And he was really about that. He went to schools every day. Like Nate really was really about, teaching the next generation. So we went to schools every day. He went out and served the homeless. He raised money for the homeless children's shelter. And while he was on that roof, man, he raised a whole lot of money the first time. And he wasn't up there that long the first time. Mm-hmm. The second time, man, a lot of people don't know this, but Nate actually, while he was on the roof, he caught pneumonia real bad. Like he was like, damn near, he had, he was light skinned. So Nate was turning blue. And our general manager was like, nah, we got to get him off the roof because he might die up there. Like, he was really that sick, like, to the point they was thinking he wasn't going to make it. And Nate looked him in the face. He was like, nah, I told the people I was going to be up until the Panthers win, so if they don't win, then I'm going to just be up here. Man. And he told the general manager, nah, I ain't coming off the roof. And he stayed up there, and even then, man, I had a whole lot of respect for him because the first time it was like fun and games. Oh, and the first time he was on the roof raising the money, somebody actually came on the roof and stole the money bucket.
Whoa.
Yeah, they stole the money bucket. So we up on the roof, and as a dude, we was on the roof of our building. That's when Power 98 was on Kings Drive. So you had to take a crane up to the roof. So somebody took the crane up on the roof, and while we was talking to the news, he grabbed the money bucket while wasn't nobody looking and came down on the crane and left the crane down. So he walked off. And the news actually had him on camera walking off with the money bucket.
That's crazy.
So it was a good bit of cash money and checks in there. So shout out to my man Muhsin Muhammad. This is how I met Muhsin Muhammad, who used to play for the Carolina Panthers. He came and he actually wrote Nate a check for what we thought was in there. So it was about $8,000, man. Muhsin wrote a check for about $8,000 to donate to the Women and Children Shelter County to replace the money. And that's, I just had a newfound respect for him because he ain't had to do that.
Right.
Even though, you know, the team sucked at the time and he was playing on a team that wasn't winning no games, he still had enough respect for what we was doing for the community to come up there and write a check, man. So shout out to Muhsin Muhammad. So yeah, so somebody stole the money the first time. We never got the actual money back, but Muhsin wrote the check, so we got to donate the money to the organization. And yeah, that second time, that's when we really, really got cool because, like I said, he was real sick, man, and I just was up there talking to him every day, like, bro, how you ain't gonna come down? Like, bro, you about to die up here. And he was like, nah, bro, I told the people, if you tell the people something, then you got to stand on your word. And he stood on it, and finally the Panthers won. He came off the roof, and while he was up there, I was doing his show. Right. And kind of like me doing his show, it was really teaching me how to be a radio personality on the air. Because his show was like #1 radio show in the afternoons, but he couldn't do it because he was sick, so I had to do it. So it kind of introduced me as radio personality to the city, and it kind of introduced me as radio personality to the staff and the owners of the station.
That's what's up, man. A lot of people, they don't really know how legendary you are. You know what I'm saying? To the city, you know what I'm saying? You've been here doing your thing for a long time.
25 years.
But there's no festival like the West Fest or the Summerfest.
Yeah. Listen. West Fest, first of all, look, West Fest, you know, the original West Fest, we used to do it at West Charlotte High School. Right. And, you know, it was just that, like, bruh, it was a salute to the West Side, a salute to Charlotte, a salute to Batesford Road, and, you know, everybody used to, it was like local guys used to come out, perform, do their thing, but we also used to have like a couple national acts, like Outkast came perform before, right. Goody Mob came and performed. A lot of cats, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, and Pastor Troy, you know, he always showed city love, came through. But it was really mostly about, you know, the neighborhood and mostly about Charlotte. It was about people from Charlotte getting together, having a good time, nobody trying to fight, nobody trying to kill each other. Right. And it was also a showcase of local artists. It was almost like a local artist fest. Cause
I was too young then. I used to watch all my big older homies, you know what I'm saying, perform and stuff. That's what really sparked my interest.
Yeah, you remember Mo Gamble? What was the name of Mo Gamble and them group? With Nam in it. What's the name of that group?
I forgot. It wasn't.
They won the whole 5-star auto mall competition. They won a car. But yeah, I forgot the name of that group.
I know Boss Pimp and Little Country was Southern Fried back then.
Southern Fried. They was on it. They was a part of West Fest. Mo Gamble and Nam and they group. I can't. The name of their group slipped my mind. But they actually was one of the first local artists on the radio too. Right. A lot of people don't know that. Shout out to Mo Gamble. But that group they had was one of the first local artists that got in regular rotation in the city. Because I remember, because I was in Nate's office when he got it, and a 5-star auto mall was a big car lot in Charlotte, like a huge car lot. Eddie Owens, shout out to Eddie Owens. He used to do their commercials. He turned their commercials into rap jingles. Right. So they had a competition. They had like a freestyle. And they had like a performance competition. And shout out to Mo Gamble and they group won the competition. But they also had a regular song that they did, and they submitted it for radio, and they actually got in the rotation. They was one of the first groups that got played like every day in regular rotation. So from the city. So shout out to them. And then I think right after them, shout out to my man Craig Martin, Dirty 130.
Dirty 130, who was from Carolina Ballers.
Yeah, them boys from John C. Smith. Yeah. With Shauna, Craig Martin, and Wayne. I think dude's name was Wayne. I forgot, but he was in the group. And they had a song. It sounded like an Outkast song, but it was so dope. And they made rotation too. And You know, everybody know Craig Martin is with South Coast Music Group right now with Arnold Taylor and the Baby. So shout out to Craig. Me and Craig actually went to Johnson C. Smith together. So shout out to them. They did it real big. But yeah, man, it was West Fest was one of them things that if you was in the city of Charlotte, you went. I don't care what you was doing.
Vendors
the food
crazy.
vendors was out the city. Like it was before food trucks and all that. It was just people bringing their food out. Just, you know what I mean? It was just a good time, good vibes, good time. And then right after that, of course, you know, Power 98 developed Summerfest, and then Summerfest became legendary for about 15 years. And I think our last big huge Summerfest was at what's now PNC Pavilion. That was our last big one. I think it was with Eve and a couple other people. It was crazy. But the biggest one I remember, the biggest Summerfest I remember was with Jay-Z, Trick Daddy, Master P, Puff Daddy, Jagged Edge, 112, The Brat, and it was at Kelwin's. So it was at Kelwin's. True story. It was 2000. So I had just signed my first radio deal. I had just came from being an intern, signed my first radio deal, and I was working for the station. We was at Summerfest, and and Petey Pablo was on this show too. So Petey had the biggest song in the country. North Carolina, come on and raise up, take your shirt off. So Petey was supposed to go before Puff Daddy, right? So Diddy comes to Summerfest Kelwin's. He wanted all black cars, and they sent him some white cars. So Diddy sent them back. He wouldn't even come out the hotel. He told him, nah. I said I want all black cars. I want all black cars. Right. So we had to go find 3 more black cars to go pick Diddy up to bring him to Summerfest. So we get the black cars, and right before Petey can vouch for this story. So right before Petey Pablo gets ready to go on stage, Diddy grab him. He said, nah, you can't go out there. I'm right here listening to this conversation. So Diddy tell him, he say, nah, bro, you can't go out there. You got the hottest shit in the country right now. You can't go out there like that. You gotta let me bring you out. So me and Petey looking at Diddy like, what? He's like, nah, you got to come out on my set. You can't go out there and you can't just go out there and do that by yourself. Man. You got to let the king, you gotta let Diddy bring you out. So Petey was like, fuck it, let's do it. So now we trying to figure out, like, well, damn, Petey's supposed to come in this slot. What we gonna do in this slot? So what ended up happening was we ended up just playing music in that slot. Did stuff with the crowd. But this particular Summerfest, we sold like the first 6 rows was like high dollar prices, right? Right,
man. Yeah, it was hard to get to the Summerfest. Yeah, my mama wouldn't even take me, man.
So the first 6 rows in the Kelwin's Pavilion was like high dollar prices. So the pavilion is like, it's a little bit of people in the front. Then in the middle section is nobody. So in the back of the pavilion was $10. All the seats was $9.99, $9.98. You know, for Power 98. So all the seats was $9.98. It was packed. It was about 7,000 people in the back. So you go 7,000 people in the back. The middle, it's nobody in it, and then you got the front. You probably got another 1,000 people, right? So Diddy getting ready to come out. I'm getting ready to bring Diddy out. So Diddy get ready to come out. He said, yo, what's wrong with the crowd? So I look at Diddy. I'm like, what you mean, what's wrong with the crowd? He's like, why is it split up like that? I'm like, I don't know. I said, oh, well, you know, in the back, that's the 998 seat. Oh, Diddy was like, oh, okay. He's like, so Diddy was like, oh, that's the hood back there. I said, yeah, that's the hood back there. He said, man, you know what? He's like, I wonder if we could get the people to move from the back to the front. I said, shit, I got it. Yeah. So my dumb ass, I go out there. Shout out to Emax. You know, Emax used to work for Power 98. So Emax is on stage. I say, Emax, let me get the mic. Diddy want me to do something. So my dumb ass, I go out there. I was like, yo, what's up to the people in the front? They were like, ah. So I was like, what's up to all my people in the back? Make some noise, y'all like the hood. So everybody stand up, they going, bro. I was like, yo, man, we need to fill this gap in. So, you know, they going crazy in the back, like, what's up? I was like, you know what? I wish y'all could move to the front. They were like, what's up? So I'm like, well, you know, if y'all all move at one time, boy, I didn't even get it out. Everybody from the back moved to the front. Cool. Everybody. Imagine 7,000 people coming from the back to the front. I'm talking about they just all moved. So I'm like, yo, boy, I'm about to get fired for this. So it's going crazy. So I'm standing beside one of my promotion people. They got a walkie-talkie. They like, oh my God, what happened? What happened? What just happened? What just happened? So it was like, man, somebody told the people they could move. So they don't know who did it, right?
Right.
E-Max on stage. E-Max like, yo, no limit, why you do that, bro? Why you do that? I'm like, yo, man. So I'm over there. I'm sweating. Like I'm pouring down sweat. So now I'm thinking, boy, this gonna be my last day in Power 98. So everything settles down. My boss at the time, his name was Andre Carson. So Andre says, he gets on the walkie-talkie. He said, yo, is everything good? And it was like, yeah, we believe so. He was like, did anybody get hurt? It was like, a little girl got hurt, but we got her backstage. Her and her parents is cool. They like everything good as long as she gets to stay backstage. So it went solid for like I'm telling you, I'm standing beside my promotion person, and like this 5 seconds of silence is like 5 seconds of my life just dropping. Like I'm feeling like, boy, this is my last day at Power 98. So my boss comes back on and said, damn, I don't know who did that, but good job. We needed to do that shit. So I'm like, but goddamn, I came up. So Diddy so I'm standing, so now Diddy comes out the back, was like, yo, that shit was crazy. Good job. So Diddy was like, I'm finna go out here and rock. So Diddy grabs Petey. He told Petey to hold up. So Diddy goes out there, goes into his set, right? He do like 3 songs. You know, people going crazy because Diddy on stage. Crowd crazy. So then Diddy was like, yo, I got the #1 dude out right now. He's from y'all town. He's from the Carolinas. Y'all already know North Carolina. Let's get ready to take the shirt off. Petey come flying out there. I'm talking about everybody got their shirt off. Helicopter man! Petey screaming, helicopter man, crowd going crazy. Man, so Diddy, after Petey performed with Diddy, we all go backstage, and Diddy like, yo man, that was some crazy stuff. He was like, but you worked it out. He was like, bruh, never change who you are. That's what he said to me. He said, never change who you are. He was like, sometimes in life, you gonna do some stuff, and you ain't gonna know if it's gonna work out. But you still got to do it. It's got to be done. Right. And he was like, that needed to be done. He was like, so no matter what nobody say to you, that shit needed to be done, and you got it done. He was like, good job. And they got a picture right there. We took that picture right down right on stage, man. There. Me, Diddy, and Nate. So shout out to Diddy, man. Summerfest was one of them incredible things. And then that year was a 2-year. It was a 2-day Summerfest. We did Saturday and Sunday. That Sunday, Jay-Z performed. He performed, man. Jay-Z had on a chain. All diamond chain, and I remember when he got out the limo, all you could see was just glistening, and all I could say to Jay was, "Damn, you shining." I'm a young buck back then, you know what I mean? So I don't know what to say to Jay. So he get out, I'm like, "Damn, you shining." So he was like, "Yeah," and he just walked, he did his thing, man. But that was probably like the best Summerfest. Carol wins like 2001 was crazy, but you know we did Summerfest every summer for about 15 years, and then what started happening was I think the artists started realizing that we need to go on tour during the summer to make some of our money. So that's what they started doing, and we just do their tours. But yeah, man, Summerfest and Westfest legendary in the city. That's
what's up, man. Great, man. Charlotte high schools, man. Woo! Back then, the football team, the band, it was felt. You felt it in your soul.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? What football team? No, let's start with the band.
Okay.
Who got the best band in the city?
Oh, you gonna do that too?
Everybody say West Charlotte.
Come on,
I always hear West Charlotte, Hart, whatever.
You cannot deny. Back in the day.
Yeah, for the 80s to the 90s to the
80s, 90s. West Charlotte. I got to go with the Dub, man. The Dub brand, but Harden ain't never been no slouch. They always gave the Dub a run for their money. They always brought it. But when you talk about, you know, from us, from our people, our culture, man, West Charlotte always bring it. They always gonna have the best dances. They gonna have the best everything. But Harden is always on their ass. They like 1A and 1B. It just depends on the day and who bring it the most. But I would say also up and coming right now, Philip O'Berry though. P.O.B. got a nice band too, but definitely West Charlotte tough to beat, man. They always just know how to tap into our culture and make it do what it do. But you know, when you talk about bands though, you can't forget about the House of Prayer band. You know what I mean? Who's Killer Parade?
House of Prayer they was deep back there.
They used to come Killer Parade, them and shout out to Drills of Hope. Drills of Hope if a lot of people don't know our city, but Drills of Hope in our city, they've been doing it for over 30 years. And what they do is they get people out the community that want to be a part of a band. You might have couldn't do it in school or whatever, but they always brought it too at the parade. So man, them 4-5 right there, them it. But when you talk about high schools, just had it, for a minute. The Dub had it for a long time. The Dub had the football, the band, and the basketball.
Right.
But that boy Chris Leak was born.
Chris Leak was out of
Chris Leak and them boys came through the city. And they stole West Charlotte coach. They got Tommy Knox over there. They're Independence. And them boys, they still got the record. They won 7 championships in a row. Like, you couldn't deny what they was doing over there, Independence. They was over there. They was running NFL, five wide receiver spreads, no huddle before all the schools got onto it. Now, they was ahead of their time. And Chris Leak won a national championship. He also won, high school, like 3-4 high school championships. Shout out to him, man. But Independence, they came and took the flame, and then, after them it was Malley Creek. Well, Butler, then Malley Creek, and now you got Vance.
Right.
Vance is
Vance crazy.
Chambers, Julius Chambers, but we know it as Vance.
Right.
But they going crazy with it right now. So, but when you talk about schools, you can't deny West Charlotte. And you definitely can't deny Independence, Malley Creek, and Vance in our city. They definitely represent.
That's what's up, man. What's some of the older generation that inspired you growing up in North Charlotte, man? Some of the leaders of the neighborhood, people that made the neighborhood feel good, feel safe, back then.
Oh yeah, so for me, man, it was 4 cats, man. I had a partner named Cass, I had a partner named Jermaine, a partner named Daviel, and a partner named Terrence. They actually lived right beside me, and these guys kind of just made sure the neighborhood was straight. When I was going to John C. Smith, I used to catch the bus because my car broke down, and I didn't want to go. I remember one day I didn't want to go to school, and I came outside, and they was like, "Where you going?" And I was like, "Man, I'm going to school, but I go to Smith." They were like, "You need a ride or something?" And I was like, "Nah." I was like, "Nah, I don't think I'm gonna go today." They were like, "Nah, bro, you got to do that." They were like, "Bro, look, you got to do that." So when you talk about cats that just made sure you was straight, man, they took me to school, they dropped me off. They were like, "Boy, you need money to catch the bus." They made sure I had money to catch the bus. And they just always made sure it wasn't no drama in our neighborhood.
Right.
Like, they did what they did or whatever, but they always made sure, like, it wasn't no drama. They tried to keep the drama in the neighborhood down. Like,
right.
We weren't beefing with each other. They weren't beefing with nobody. If they were beefing with somebody, it was outside the neighborhood. Every once in a while, our street, like I grew up on Umstead, so our street would beef with Keenan Street every once in a while. And It might be over female or might be over, this or that, but it wasn't never no, boy, I got to kill him, I got to do that. It was always a fight. That's we grew up in a fighting generation.
Right.
And I was talking to my man, shout out my man De Niro Farrar. We was talking about this and talking about this generation. He was like, you look at all the music we grew up to, it was fighting music. We grew up fighting. So you look at our generation now, like he said, you think about it, we didn't want our kids to fight. We didn't want our kids to grow up like us. We didn't want them to fight. So they really can't fight.
Right.
So they really can't fight. If you born after 93, 94, you really can't fight. Because we didn't teach them that, because that's what we learned. Like our uncles and the boys in our neighborhood, like they taught you how to fight. They will make you fight. Like, you come outside, hey nigga, now that nigga don't like you, what y'all gonna do? Y'all mash it up. They taught you how to fight, and you had to fight. Sometimes it was just one of them days, but you gonna have to fight in the neighborhood. It's just what it was,
man.
But wasn't nobody trying to kill nobody.
Yeah, right, man.
We weren't trying to kill nobody. So our generation of kids, we didn't want them to grow up like we did, so we didn't teach them how to fight. It's kind of our fault. So they don't know how to fight. So now when they have beef and the music they listen to, it tell them to shoot. Because that generation, the guys making the song, they uncles and daddies didn't teach them how to fight. So that's all they know. Right. So that's why we in a generation right now, when they have beef, that's what they want to do. They want to shoot, because number one, they can't fight. And number two, you got cameras everywhere. So when you get beat up, it's on film. So now you embarrassed. Right. So now you got to kill everybody because you embarrassed. Because they don't want that. They don't want that on their record. So it's just, man, I grew up in a time when the neighborhood was a neighborhood. Like, you could borrow sugar from somebody next door and they wasn't going to go on social media and talk about you. Wasn't even no social media. So, and we grew up where we had fun times in the hood. They like all the boys in the hood made sure we had fun times. Like we had 3 summers where we just had water gun fights. This straight up water gun fight. Like you couldn't come outside. You couldn't come outside without getting shot with a water gun.
Right.
Like, I ain't care if you were going to church. I ain't care if your mama was with you. But but it was fun though. Like they made their money. They made sure the neighborhood was straight, and they made sure we had fun. Right. That's the kind of cats I grew up around in North Charlotte. And then, like I said earlier, like we all went places together. It wasn't nothing for us to go to the skate room. We go to Trade Winds. We 30 deep enough.
Man, Trade Winds.
We go to Trade Winds. We 30 deep enough. So now somebody say something, somebody do something. It's 30 on 30. It's 30 on 10. Whoever you got with you, we got 30 with us. You got 10, then that's your L.
How fun was it back then going to Trade Winds, man?
You know, man, Trade Winds, that was our skating rink. First it was Skate Palace. We did Skate Palace first. They closed that down. Then it was Trade Winds. So, we just go in there and vibe. Everybody went skating. You can go in there and chill. Like they wasn't on no type of time in Trade Winds. Like if you wasn't skating, you couldn't be in there. It was like you could just wait till they take the skates off, and then after the skates come off, it's a party. Like you in there, on the floor. You got somebody in the corner.
Come off at 9.
Yeah, you in there getting it in. But it was so fun, man. And it was every Saturday. We went to the mall. Went to Eastland Mall during the day. You know what I mean? Went to Eastland Mall during the day. Might have went to merry-go-round and got you one of them outfits, 2 for 30. Or Jay Riggins got one of them fake teal figures and put it on, and you.
Hey, did it crush your soul when they took Eastland Mall away?
Bruh, listen, everybody know Eastland Mall was a Charlotte staple. Yes, it crushed my soul, and I wish they could have worked it out where they could have kept it. Mm-hmm. They could have kept it. I mean, it did get out of hand because the younger generation started coming in there, and they want to come in there and shoot. Like I said, we wasn't even when we went to the mall. We were going there to look at girls, get phone numbers, be pretty, and get an outfit for that night.
Man, that was the days, man.
Yeah, or go to remember it had a game room downstairs.
The food court was food court. You ain't even had to eat. You could just be there.
But the food court was where everybody was at. Everybody got you get the French J. You go in the store, get the French J. You go in the food court and chill. And you going to chill.
It was easy to get Jordans back then.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. It was definitely, if you had the bread,
Yeah.
If you had the bread, it was easy to get the Jordans. And you go in the mall, you go in the food court. In Eastern Mall, the food court was like the meeting spot. Everybody was there. All the girls was there. Everybody with money was there. And that's where you wanted to go, and you just wanted to hang out, and that's what we did. And then after the mall, you would catch a bus, or you would go to Trade Winds. We'd go to Trade Winds, and most nights was cool, but some of them nights it might be some old boy that said something to me in school, and his people and your people. You fight, you go home, shake hands. We come back and try it again that week. Right. And it was our routine.
Then you get up that Sunday and talk about it for a little bit. Wasn't no internet.
Yeah, wasn't no internet, none of that. So what you do on Sunday morning, most of Sunday morning I had to go to church. And then after church, we come home. We either go to basketball court on 15th Street in North Charlotte. We go to basketball court, or we just chill and sit on the porch and just talk. But we stomped them there and that. But such and such ain't do nothing. But he ain't even jump in the fight. One of them type things. But it wasn't nobody dying like that, bro. It really wasn't nobody. It really wasn't, bro. Every once in a while you might have had somebody,
like from a car wreck.
But
we heard about people dying from car wrecks or got sick.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't nobody getting shot every day.
Right, man.
Like we took ass whoopings, we gave ass whoopings, and we went about our business.
Right.
That's how it went. But like for the most, man, we were just trying to figure life out together. We was trying to have a good time, and that was it, bro. That was it.
Man, and it was the days, man. It was the days,
sir.
Man.
And then the bring back is, and they tried it with North Lake, but North Lake ain't Eastern, man.
Nah.
It ain't, Eastern Mall was the mall that had a skating rink in it, the ice rink.
Yeah.
Niggas down there trying to ice skate. We couldn't do that, but we used to stand on the thing and watch all the people ice skate.
Right. The best food court ever, bro. I didn't see none of them food restaurants in no malls no more.
Nah, bro. It was one of them. And even the clothing stores, like I said, merry-go-round. You can go in there, you take $30, you take $60, get 4 outfits.
Right.
And be straight.
Jay Riggins.
Jay Riggins had it. If you couldn't afford a heel figure, heel figure was about $100 back then. Jay Riggins had a $35 shirt or $25 shirt.
2 for 30.
2 for 30. You know what I mean? You go in there and still be fresh.
Right.
You still was fresh. So they had stuff for everybody, man. And Limbs, for all them boys.
Limbs got started at Eastland Mall, right?
Yeah, Limbs got started at Eastland Mall. And you know, everybody who wanted, that's, them boys from New York brought they swag down here. That's when they put all the Coogee and stuff in Limbs. So everybody who wanted to buy the Coogee, they went in there and got that out of Limbs. They had the suit store where you can go in there and get you a suit for Sundays. Eastland Mall had everything you needed. Like I said, they had the game room. And then you think about Tryon Mall. Tryon Mall had a big game room. They had the big game room on the other side of town. Well, here in Valley, that's where they had Tryon Mall at, which ended up being the Blackout, which being the club Blackout. So
man, that was
we used to vibe, man.
I used to parking lot pimp. I was still in high school. I couldn't get in. I couldn't get in.
Oh man, Blackout was crazy.
Man, we used to hear your what was that, like a commercial? Not like a commercial, but like
my
a jingle.
Intro?
How it go? Oh no, big.
Shout out my man Big Blue Black.
No limit, Larry.
Oh no, here come No Limit Larry. Shout out to my man Big Blue Black, man. He did that intro for me when I first got my night shift, and I needed an intro, and me and Big used to kick it like. So shout out to Big Blue, man. We used to kick it, and he was in the studio. He like, let me do your intro. I was like, all right, and that's when I had been working with Master P and them back then, and I had all the instrumentals. So I had that Fiend instrumental to Big Timer.
Right.
And I played it. He was like, what? He said, boy, run it back. I got it. And he went in but he didn't write it down. He just went in there and did it off the dome.
Man, he always
did it off the dome and killed it. And I ran that for about, let me see, when I got my night shift, I ran that for about a year, about 6 months. And then R.I.P. to my man Archie out of Atlanta.
Man,
he heard it.
Archie was dope, man.
Yeah, he came to the city. He was coming to Club 2000, and he was like, bro, you your energy. He was like, I'm gonna remix my song, and I'm gonna put your name in it. And he did it and sent it back. Rest in history, man. It was crazy.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, that intro. Big did my first intro. Eddie did my second one, but I kept the big one. Then Archie did the one that just it was crazy.
Yeah,
he did no limit.
Yeah,
no limit. Man, it's 6 o'clock. It's crazy.
Man, we used to hear your commercial in the car, man, and we'd be at the light on North Tryon. I'm finna go to FX, sit in the parking lot. Put the commercial on. We hype, we crunk. All night parking lot pimping was the thing back then. You ain't even have to go in the club, man.
And that's what it was, man. Like, if you couldn't get in the club because it was crowded or you just wasn't old enough, that's what everybody did. They hung out in the parking lot. Wasn't nobody tripping to them. And then, right after that, that's when the city went crazy and everybody got guns. And we are where we are now, man.
That's what's up, man. Before we get up out of here, I want to say thank you. And I want to ask you, out of all the artists you ever met in your life, which one was your most memorable moment from all the way before Diddy to now? Who was like one of your favorite artists' favorite moments?
I tell you, my first artist I met was DMX. First artist I ever met in radio was DMX. And I tell this story all the time. Nate told me, he was like, we got a guy coming. This is when DMX kind of first started, before he dropped his first album. And he was on Sound of Def Jam, and it was him and Redman. They came up to the station. The station was in Concord. And my job was to go downstairs and get the guest. So Nate was like, yo, man, we got a guest coming in this afternoon. His name DMX. I was like, all right. I ain't know who he was. No, who the fuck's the DMX? I was like, all right. So they get there, they ring the bell, so I go downstairs to let him in. DMX got his 2 big-ass pit bulls with him. He holding them. And they like growling at the door. So I go to the door, I look. Man, I'm not opening the door for this nigga. This nigga got 2 big-ass dogs. So I go back upstairs and I tell Nate, bro, this nigga got 2 big ass pit bulls. I'm not letting this nigga in, bro. He like, nah, man, you gotta let him in. He the artist. He was like, man, his dogs ain't gonna bite you. I'm like, nigga, you go get him then. He was like, nah, man, just let him in. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I go back down there, man. I open the door and he look at me and the dogs was like, "Rrr, rrr." So he laugh. And he tell the dog, sit down. And the motherfucker sat down on the floor and just chill, bro.
Damn.
And I'm looking like, this nigga crazy. He's like, yo, what's up? It's DMX. How you doing? And I introduced myself, and then right after him, he walk in there. Redman walk in. I knew who Redman was. Everybody know Redman. So I'm like, what's up, sir? How you doing? I'm Larry. Y'all interview upstairs. But that was the first artist I met. Right after that, I met Jay-Z. It was crazy. I met Jay-Z probably 5 times since I've been radio. 5 times total. The first time I met him, That's when he had went through that beef with Tupac, and Tupac had passed. I was a huge Tupac fan. And you know, Tupac used to talk shit about Jay-Z. Right. So naturally, I fuck with Tupac, so I don't like Jay-Z.
Right.
Just because I was the strength of Tupac. So he came to the station. It was like he got on like this Hawaiian looking shirt like Tupac said he be wearing a Hawaiian shirt. So he come in there, he's like a young Jay-Z, and he speak, and I'm like, man, and I give him like a cold shoulder. He's like, and he and his man like, what the fuck wrong with this nigga? and then his man was like, yo, you good? I was like, yeah. I was like, I said, bro, I ain't gonna even lie. I'm a Tupac fan. I said like that, I'm a Tupac fan. So his man like, man, we don't get into all that, man. We just get money. I was like, all right. And I was like, all right, that's cool. And he did his interview. I wasn't even a part of the interview that time. Nate did his interview. He left, shook hands. So the next time I met him is when he did the song with Eminem. He did the song Eminem.
Right.
Before it had dropped, Nate had the bootleg of the CD before it dropped. So we had listened to it. So I'm in the office going off on Nate. But yo, man, Jay got killed. Killed that nigga on the song, bro. He killed him on Renegade. I don't know that Jay-Z is coming to the station 3 days later. I didn't know this. Nate knew he was coming. So I'm in there going, hey, man, you know how you get hyped. Man, killed that nigga. That nigga ain't even like that, bro. I be hyping Jay-Z. He ain't even like that. So 3 days later, Jay comes to the station. So I done forgot, I done said this, I done talked all this shit about Jay-Z and Eminem. So we get in the interview, and I got this interview still on tape. So we get in the interview, so Nate gets in the interview, we talking. So he look at me, he look at Jay-Z, he look at me, look at Jay-Z. I'm like, what this nigga about to do? He finna do some sly shit, because Nate always did some sly shit in the interview. He's like, yo, Larry, tell Jay-Z what you said about him. I'm like, huh? What? I was like, I ain't saying nothing about Jay-Z. You know what you talking about? He was like, nah, tell her what you said about the song. So I'm like, oh, okay. So Jay-Z looked at me like, what you say about the song? I mean, I'm like, yo, I said, bro, all I said was outflowed you on the song. He was like, oh, so he looked, he laughed. He was like, that's how you feel? I was like, yeah. So he was like, I think you need to listen to it again. I was like, all right. But me right now, he outflowed you on the song. And I still got this on tape to this day. So fast forward, that was on like a Thursday. 2 weeks later, me and Nate go to an award show. We go to the Billboard Music Awards, right? It's in Vegas. We staying at the Caesars Palace in Vegas. I go downstairs to the casino. And if you ever been to Caesars Palace, you know you walk to the casino, you walk back to the elevators. It's a long-ass hallway. I'm walking in this long-ass hallway, right? I see 20 people walking. Black guys. I'm like, I ain't paying them no attention. So as I'm walking slow. I look back. I see the crowd. They like walking towards me. I'm like, what the fuck are these niggas? This is no like true story. So I look back. The crowd spreads. Out the crowd. Jay-Z walked out the crowd, bro. He said, hey, you still think outflowed me on that song? Nigga, I look. 1, 2, 3. They 20, 30 deep. Nah, bro, you got him. Nigga, I got on the elevator, got out of there. I don't know what their intentions was, but nah, bro, you got him. But yeah, so Jay-Z was always cool. And Jay-Z did one of the realest things. Jay-Z and Jim Jones did one of the realest things I ever seen an artist do. So Jay-Z, that day I told him, outflowed him on the song. He was signing, we had some kids up there. We had probably had about 20 kids come meet Jay-Z that day at the radio station. So he had posters. So he was signing the posters for the kids. He signed about 7 posters and ran out. So he still got these other kids in line. So he was like, yo, so his man was like, yo, man, we ain't got no more posters for you to sign. What you gonna do for the other kids? So they walk in, man, he gave every kid a signed $100 bill. A signed $100 bill. The rest of the kids in line. So now the kids who got the posters are like, why we ain't got $100 bills? Right. Jay looked him dead in the face and said, sometimes it's all right to be in the back of the line.
Whoa.
I was like, yo, it's crazy. Whoa. But that was real. And I was like, bro, he ain't had to do that.
Right.
He ain't had to do that. But and you know what's funny? Because a girl who got one of them $100 bills, she just DM'd me about a week ago and said she remembered that. Because I told her stuff. She was like, I got one. And I think she actually still had the $100 bill. She was like, I was one of them kids in line, and I remember that. Jay-Z did that, and Jim Jones, we was doing a basketball shootout at CIAA, and he gave all the kids out there. Jim Jones gave every kid out there $100 bills. Every took him out of his pocket. I was like, bro, that's real.
Yes,
He was like, bro, I know how it is. Like, some of these kids ain't gonna never get to meet Jim Jones one, and they ain't gonna never get, ain't nobody never gonna put no $100 in their pocket. And that was real. But Jay-Z, Jim Jones, of course, Master P was always one of my favorites. Master P tell the best stories in the world. And because he's been around the industry, we used to be on conference calls with Master P. He always gave us good advice about being in the industry. Steve Harvey, he actually gave me some good advice too. But I would say my most memorable person I've ever met doing this is probably Will Smith. I hung out with Will Smith for a whole day. He came to Charlotte. The movie 7 Pounds premiered, and he came to Charlotte. He picked the city of Charlotte to do his premiere. He came, he brought his big bus, and I was one of the ones that was invited to hang out with him. And his people around him was like, man, you can't do this. He ain't telling everybody what to do. Will told him, look, y'all shut up. I got this. I got this. He was like, man, he was like, I'm from Philly, bro. Like, I ain't with all this glitz and glamour, man. He was like, bro. And he was just real, bro. Like, I mean, you think about a dude getting $25 million of film, you probably would be like, I don't want nobody around me. He wanted everybody around him. Right. We did a premiere at Ray Road Theaters, at Riga Cinemas at Ray Road in Ballantyne. Everybody in there, he went around and shook everybody's hand, spoke to everybody. He told his people, man, back up. Y'all, these people are not going to bother me. And he went and shook everybody's hand, hugged everybody. He gave Steve Smith a jersey that day. And he did. I got the pleasure of introducing him, hanging out with him. And as I was introducing him, he came up, grabbed the mic, started beatboxing, and started rapping. And I was like, "Yo, it was just so dope to see."
Dope moment.
Yeah,
moment.
Yeah,
dope
man.
moment.
So him and I got a chance to talk to President Barack Obama on the phone. So them right there is probably my most memorable.
That's what's up, man. And one more, it just clicked in my head: the Breakfast Brothers.
Oh yeah. Shout out to BJ Murphy, man. BJ Murphy, Tone, Next, Incognito, Storm Johnson, Sheila Stewart, Lori Mack. They was the Breakfast Brothers. They was the morning show before I had the morning show. And so I worked at night when they worked in the morning. So I just used to hear them when I got up in the morning. But I didn't start hanging out with them. Like I used to see BJ because BJ used to always be around the station. Tone, before it was JD, before JD was on the show, Lori Mack was on the show. So Lori Mack kind of helped train me as a producer. She was the producer of the morning show and like the female on the show. But Lori Mack definitely helped train me as a producer. And then when Lori left, that's when JD came. And JD helped train me as being a producer in radio. But man, BJ was always one of the ones that just come talk to you. Being when you intern somewhere, that's all you want, somebody to help try to guide you and try to give you information. Right. And BJ was always one of the ones like, bruh, stay with it. Don't give up. Stay with it. He was like, it might be a long process, but stay with it. I interned for 2 years before I got a job. Like, before I got an actual paycheck from Power 98, I interned for 2 years. And then my first paycheck was $55.19. I remember it was $55.19. But that $55.19 was like, bro, that shit was like $1 million to me because I knew I finally got my foot where I needed it to be. Yeah. And I was just happy. But BJ was always one of the ones to talk to you. And then shout out to Big Unc Tone X. Like, I used to see him, and Tone always had the Fly's hats, the Fly's shoes, the Fly's clothes, the Fly's cars. He always was just that dude at the radio station. And then, when I took over mornings in 2004, he kind of took me under his wing. Was like, look, I know you coming to the mornings. He was like, I know you joining our team, which that I was because BJ took the job in Dallas. So they moved me to mornings when BJ took the job in Dallas, and Tone and JD stayed. They was like, listen, we ain't coming here to shake nothing up, but we gonna make this thing a family. And they both did, It was some growing pains at first because JD didn't want to listen, but but at the end of the day, man, we all grew and we grew like family. And Tone really became like a big uncle to me. He always gave me good advice. Always talked to me after every show. First starting off, man, working with a team because I didn't have a team when I first started Power 9. I worked by myself. Right. And doing nights or when I worked with Nate. But after I left Nate's show, I had my own show at night, so it was just me. And then Incog was my producer. But it was just like Unc just took me in his wing and became, that's what he said, man, I'm gonna be your uncle.
That's what's up,
and that's what he did. He really became like a big uncle to me.
That's what's up, man. Chazy Boy TV.
Yes, sir.
No Limit Larry.
Yes, sir. Big Chazy. I gotta give this guy his flowers, man. Look, I known this young man since he was a young man.
Right.
And he's always been a hard worker. He always gonna outwork everybody. And just to see you, man, doing your thing and what you doing now from being an artist, still doing artist, passing that down to your children. But not only that, helping other people tell their stories and tell their stories of the city. Man, you deserve your flowers, man. Big shout out to you. And
Appreciate
what you've done with Chezzy Boy TV is amazing because you met all kind of artists and even on tour with them now. So,
right.
man, that's real dope. I'm super proud of you, bro.
Appreciate that, brother. Already.